What's going on, guys? Josh from SoccerReviewsForYou.com bringing you my review plus on-feet video of the Anti-Clog Soft Ground Pro version of the Nike Premier 2 in this gorgeous black and Volt yellow colorway. Now in today's video, we're going to go over all the details as far as tech specs and general quality is concerned, as well as take a look at how they fit and feel on feet. So if you're interested in learning more about these, stick around, watch the entire video. As far as this particular release is concerned, this version of the shoe with the Anti-Clog Soft Ground Pro Soleplate in this black Volt colorway did not actually release in the US. I'm not sure if that's going to change in the near future, but as of right now, this only came out in Europe and in Canada for whatever reason. Nonetheless, if you are interested in a pair of these for yourself, I'll leave a little pop-up on screen, or you can click the first link down below in the description. That'll take you to the review page on my website, where you will find buy it now links for this particular shoe from some European retailers for approximately $140 US. So it is a $30 premium over the standard firm ground version of the Nike Premier 2, being that this is Soft Ground Pro with the Anti-Clog Soleplate. Even at $140 though, it's still a pretty good value, I would say. So the upper of the shoe is still just like the firm ground version of the Nike Premier 2. Nothing's changed. Kangaroo leather pretty much for the entirety of the upper. The only part that isn't leather is the actual tongue itself, although the flap is made from natural leather, which is really, really nice. And then you do have some synthetic here around the heel area where there is an internal plastic heel counter, but that's not really a big deal. As far as the touch that this provides, obviously premium kangaroo leather, very soft on the ball, feels very comfortable on your foot, very natural in terms of how it moves with your foot as well. If you're just looking for a clean, simple, classic kangaroo leather feel on the ball, that is exactly what's on offer here. I know not everybody's a huge fan of the fold over flap tongue. It does have the Velcro to hold it down, but I think it adds some pretty cool styling. Although personally, I would rather it not be there just for the sake of not having that little bit of extra bulk. Laces run through the middle. So again, it's a fairly straightforward design, very, very simple leather shoe. Something I figured I would point out because I immediately noticed it when I took this particular pair out of the box is that the leather on the right boot didn't necessarily match the leather on the left shoe. And I think you can pretty clearly see that when I put the two side by side, especially in the forefoot area here. The leather on the right boot has a little bit more of a shine to it. It seems a little bit thicker, a little bit more padded, more plush, more premium, I would say. Whereas on the left boot, you can see it's got a much more flat, thinner, not quite as soft feel to it overall. Is this something that's going to be noticeable once the shoes are broken in? Not really. It's a natural leather material, so it's going to feel soft once you get a little bit of wear time. But the fact that it is a natural material means that there are going to be inconsistencies. With that said, that's not really my problem. That's not the problem of the consumer in general. I think that Nike probably should be a little bit more strict in terms of quality control on something like this. I've personally never seen this big of a difference from the left to the right shoe in terms of how the leather looks from brand new, but it is something to keep an eye out for if you are planning on picking up this particular shoe or the Nike Premier 2.0 in general, because like I said, this is a little bit disappointing for a brand new pair of boots. Something that we didn't get with the original version of the Nike Premier is the Anti-Clog Soleplate. We did get a soft ground version of the first Premier, but it was a simple 6 stud. This time around, they've given us the Soft Ground Pro layout, which means that you have your standard 6 metal screw-in studs like you'd find with the usual soft ground boot, but they also include the molded studs in between, which is what they call Soft Ground Pro. And of course, the Soleplate itself, as seen by the branding here on the heel, is their Anti-Clog Soleplate, where essentially the finish of the Soleplate itself, the material that they've used, it uses the moisture in a soft ground natural grass playing surface, mainly water, to create a barrier between the Soleplate and the ground surface, which means nothing's really going to stick to it. What's important to note about these Anti-Clog Soleplates is in order for it to be effective, there has to be moisture, the ground has to be legitimately soft, and you also have to avoid scratching the surface of the Soleplate. So if you want this to be effective in terms of keeping mud off the bottom of the sole, it's really, really important that you only wear these in soft ground playing environments. If you were to wear these on firm ground or any kind of ground that isn't soft, it's going to immediately scratch up the surface of this Soleplate really, really quickly, which means that when you actually go to wear them on soft ground again, this anti-clog system is not going to be nearly as effective. So basically the effectiveness of this. It does work, but it's crucial that this surface is clean and as smooth as possible. So something that's really important to note if you were planning on picking up any anti-clog product from Nike. The stud pattern itself is kind of typical soft ground. You can see the screw-in studs are not like what you'll find on the top-end models. Not to say that the Premier 2 is not a top-end model, but normally if you were to buy a soft ground Superfly as an example, it would come with full aluminum studs as opposed to just aluminum tips with plastic for the bottom piece like we have right here. Still looks pretty cool, especially considering they made it in that Volt yellow color to match the rest of the shoe. But you can see that you have 13 millimeter length studs at the heel and then 11 millimeter length studs in the forefoot, with the molded studs here at the tip of the toe, at the base of the forefoot, one support stud in the middle, and then two at the heel as well. As far as traction is concerned, on soft natural grass, it works quite well, but if I'm being completely honest, I personally don't really notice a huge difference in performance when it comes to traction from one soft ground stud pattern to the next. What is beneficial about this one with that anti-clog sole plate is the sole is going to remain much cleaner, which means it's not going to clog up, which in turn should result in better traction. You're not going to have those moments where you end up slipping because the sole plate is clogged up with mud. So that is a benefit of the anti-clog technology. But again, it's also important that you make sure that this sole plate remains completely smooth in order for that technology to actually be effective. Overall, if you regularly play on soft ground, this is a stud pattern that definitely will get the job done for you, but I would not recommend wearing this on anything that isn't soft natural grass. Other notable elements on this particular shoe do include the sole plate itself in terms of the stiffness and feel that it has underfoot. It's not exactly the same as the firm ground model. It's a little bit thicker, and because of that, it does have a little bit more stiffness to it, although in all honesty, that's not quite as noticeable once the shoes are more worn in. You have an internal plastic heel counter here. This little added piece that's there more so for show as opposed to an actual performance feature, if you were wondering. It is of course a standard low cut, as all Nike Premiers are and should be. You have the synthetic suede liner on the inside with a decent amount of padding, really nice lining on this particular shoe. And the insole, it is fully removable. It features a mesh liner on top and is made from a single layer of foam. Nothing too fancy at all, but it does get the job done for this particular implementation. In terms of weight, the Soft Ground Pro anti-clog version of the Nike Premier 2 does weigh a little bit more than the firm ground model. In a size 9.5 US, this version of the shoe weighs in at 9.3 ounces, whereas the firm ground model in the same size weighs in at about 8.6. So there's almost a full ounce of extra weight with the Soft Ground Pro variation, which honestly isn't a lot of extra weight. You have to consider that soft ground shoes will pretty much always weigh a little bit more due to thicker sole plates and heavier studs, as well as the screw-in points, which also add weight. So to be less than a full ounce more is not really that big of a deal, and I don't think that weight should be a deciding factor here. If you're picking a shoe with a specific stud pattern, you should be picking that stud pattern based on the playing surface, not based on the weight of the shoe. As a whole, given the style of shoe the Nike Premier 2 is, these are actually relatively lightweight. Aesthetically, these shoes look incredible. I'm such a big fan of this particular colorway. And then the anti-clog sole plate, being that it's black to go along with the black upper, I think just makes this shoe look a lot more sleek than the regular black and white Premier with its kind of creamy white sole plate. The black and Volt yellow combination, I know some people are sick of Volt yellow from Nike, but in this particular use, I have to say it looks awesome. These instantly remind me of kind of classic Diadora models as they started to modernize a little bit with the black and neon yellow color combination, as well as the Nike Tiempo Legend 2, which released in a very similar color combo that I actually had growing up as a kid at, let's say, age 15 or 16 years old. So awesome, love the look of the black and Volt yellow. You have a little accent there on the tongue, as well as with the big Nike swooshes, the Anti-Clog logo there on the black, and then some neon yellow accents there in the stud tips, as well as the Nike swoosh on the sole plate. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comments, but for me, I think this is one of the best looking shoes of 2017 so far. So as you guys can see, I swapped out the stock black laces for some wide neon yellow reflective SR4U replacement laces, which accent absolutely perfectly with the neon yellow you find in the swoosh on this particular shoe. So if you are interested in a pair of SR4U replacement laces for yourself, the website to go to is www.sr4ulaces.com. There'll be a little pop-up on screen, as well as a link down below in the description. So if you're interested in a pair, be sure to go ahead and check that out. On feet, the Nike Premier 2 is very, very comfortable. And as far as how different the soft ground version feels versus the firm ground one, honestly, there isn't really much of a difference at all. You can tell the sole plate is a little bit thicker on this shoe, but it needs to be for the fact that this is a soft ground stud pattern and the studs are going to be a little bit longer. So overall, the difference on feet is really insignificant, I would say. The kangaroo leather feels soft. The general comfort of the shoe out of the box is very, very good. That's not to say that there isn't any break-in time, because as with any leather shoe, they're going to soften up and stretch to your feet as you wear them in. But in terms of discomfort during that break-in process, you're going to have very little of that for the most part. As far as width is concerned, these are going to be suitable for just about anybody, especially after some wear time, because like I said, it does feature a full leather upper, so that is going to stretch the more that you wear them. And as far as sizing is concerned, they run about a half size small in length. So instead of wearing my usual size 9 US, I bumped it up to a 9.5, and the fit and the length is absolutely perfect. So sizing is the same as the current Tiempo lineup, if you were wondering, or if you're just ordering these for the first time, I would strongly recommend going a half size up in order to achieve the best possible fit. Overall, I think the Nike Premier 2 is a really solid value. I know the regular firm ground model retails at $110, this being the soft ground version with the anti-clog sole plate. It is a $30 premium over that firm ground variation, but as a whole, still a very solid value. Quality kangaroo leather. It's cool that you get the anti-clog sole plate at a lower price point than what you'd find with pretty much any other anti-clog model from Nike. It looks the part, it's comfortable. I know I did show some quality control issues with this particular pair, but I wouldn't necessarily expect that to be an issue with every single pair out there. Anyways, the only other shoe I would consider at this particular price point, if you're not 100% convinced on the Nike Premier 2, would be the Nike Tiempo Legacy 3. Very similar in price and arguably a little bit better in quality. It really is at that point more of an issue of what specifically you're looking for, but the Legacy 3 is a really solid option at this price range as well, and a very good alternative if, again, you're not entirely sold on the Premier. Anyways, if you guys are interested in a pair of these for yourself, again, you can click the first link down below in the description. That'll take you to the review page on my website, where you'll find buy it now links where you can pick these up for around $140 US. If you have any questions regarding this shoe, leave them down below in the comments and I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all of my social media information linked down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, thanks for watching.